we care about the rules and doing things the right way and doing
That's
the right
part
thing.
of the
That's
culture.
part of the culture.
So it creates the boundaries for you.
Yes. Well, and that we those things are top of mind when we are building up our team. We ask them questions about their personal life and relationships in the interview, just to kind of see where they're at, not just professionally, but just as a well-rounded human. That is something we're very aware of and in tune. They say, what do they say? They say that 80% of your work life success is from your level of emotional intelligence, and then 20% is based off of your skill set. And you can't teach empathy. You can teach skill. We can get better with that, but you can't teach empathy. And so that's something that we're very aware of when we bring someone into the clinic.
Jared and Afton, thank you so much for being on the Willpower podcast. It is such a treat to have you come back.
It's an honor. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so listen, this is a powerful episode because we're talking about culture. We're talking about business culture, family culture, and for everyone who's listening, this is a really big conversation because a lot of times we don't even understand culture from a business angle, much less the family angle. And that was the greatest lesson I learned. Was the thing that I built at my office, at work, in my medical office, was all about how it helped my family develop and become this special group of people. So let's talk about Era Physical Therapy. You've been in business for 1.5 years.
Yep.
You guys have been married for 4 years. You're co-owners. You have multiple hats in the business. Tell me about the culture. Tell me what the foundational elements are, your purpose, your vision, your values.
Yeah. Purpose is to make an impact through every era. Impact is
let's dig on that real quick.
Through every era of life.
Okay.
We try to, we treat all ages. We have a pelvic floor specialist. We have a neuro specialist, Parkinson's, orthopedic, right? So we really try to, like, anyone, no matter what you're going through, whatever era of life you're in, we want to be there for you.
I love that. So you're helping all the different groups. It kind of reminds me when we worked together in the rural setting and we just saw lots of everything.
That's kind of why I liked it. I saw everything. And so I 6-month-old torticollis to 98-year-old, gait and balance, we do it all.
Okay. So that's the purpose. Values.
Values is impact. IMPACT. So integrity, mastery, professionalism, accountability, candid care, and team. And just like you did, we have a little phrase for each one,
Dude, that's so cool. Yeah. Can you just share briefly one of those phrases?
Well, team, we are family.
So what's funny is that I have team in my current company and we are family. So we all created that at Rise Rehab together. Right. And it's fun to see how that value has kind of spread as we all had a hand in it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so cool.
I think you said in the last podcast or one of them, R&D is rip off and duplicate or something like that.
Yes.
So most of my stuff I've gotten from you or Brian Wright or whatever.
That's funny.
We just try to do it in our own way.
I have to stop saying that, by the way. R&D, I used to say, I do research and development, but really it stands for rip off and duplicate, and people would laugh. I've learned that there are people who legitimately rip off.
Oh.
And so I have people who've ripped me off, and I'm like, that's not cool. I've had someone literally tell me, like, I'm stealing that from you.
Oh, gosh.
And you're like, I heard it best where it's like, with permission, we learn from others, but it's like not as funny as rip off and in that case, it's not ripping off by any means. But I love that you have those values. Vision,
3 clinics in 3 years.
And you've been in business for 1.5 years, and you have one very successful clinic.
Yep. So we're hoping to open a second one next year. We're trying to find the who, right?
Yeah.
Who is going to be that person who wants to grow with us, who has that same vision, who wants to kind of help us build. We have an amazing team and, aspiring like leaders and clinic directors who might maybe take on those clinics. But either way, like, we're growth-minded company and we're looking for people who...
Well, you guys don't struggle with hiring. You're turning down people because they're not the right people.
Right.
So you're really being intentional about making sure you find the right people. And that goes into brand. The foundational cultural element is your purpose, vision, and values. Brand, as we all know, is the ability to communicate that through our messaging, through our design, our coloring, everything to really help people understand who we are. Afton, this is where you come in on steroids. Your gift is how to take that cultural element and communicate that into a brand. Can you tell a little bit about what you helped build at Era so that people who are listening are like, can be checking their own brand against their purpose, vision, and values?
Yeah. So my background is in interior design and fashion marketing. So I am already a very creative thinker, and taking on, creating this business, that was something that was very exciting to me, was to stretch my abilities in, the healthcare sector. So I was very excited. I very much am able to go into a space and put myself in the situation of a provider or a patient. I can imagine the story, and I can pull exactly what you're going to need. And that's kind of what I did.
Give me an example, because I went into your clinic. I said this on the last episode, but going into your first location was like no experience I've ever had. I felt like, I couldn't put words to it, but I felt very intentionally what you were putting out there. Mm-hmm. So give me just one example of something you put into your brand. Meaning, let's look at design of your clinic from a perspective first, of what you did from a design perspective that helped communicate the purpose, vision, or values.
Gosh, I mean, even just visually, there's a science to when you walk into a space. Your nervous system is going to be much more calm if you are not stressed out and overstimulated by all different things, messes, smells that maybe don't smell good if it's too warm. So there's very much a science to making a space be fully functional to where someone's going to have a good experience. I think just visually, structurally, the majority of our branding is all the same color concept. We use the same verbiage. We use the same fonts.
Interesting. What's some verbiage you guys use?
Like even just in like our social media stuff, there's a lot of things that all I cater a lot to like the millennial humor. And people really resonate with that. They really like.
Well, you're
that.
younger. Both of you guys are younger. Your who's are going to be younger. These are these individuals who are highly committed and driven, and they're looking for that heart of a company. So you're designing that literally with the purpose, vision, and values in mind. And in your messaging, I'm glad you brought up your social media, because you run the social media part of your page. You have some of the best social media of any PT company I've ever seen, and you're small. Like, you're better than all larger companies. I've never seen a larger physical therapy practice run any social media as good as you guys. So everyone who's listening, go follow Era Physical Therapy on Instagram. I know for sure. Is there TikTok? Are there any channels that you don't like put content on? Are you on YouTube and those
We're
things?
on YouTube, Facebook, yeah.
Oh, okay. You chimed in as partners. That was really cute. Okay, so very good. So we talked a little bit about that culture. How do you guys live your culture at Era? And then I'd like to transition this a little bit into the family side of things. But how do you guys live that at Era?
Yeah. Well, you talk about the culture is what it feels like on Sunday night, that feeling you get. And so we do monthly gatherings. We played pickleball last month, and we were playing pickleball this Saturday morning again because we had so much fun.
We are family. That's your
we
goal.
are
That's
family,
your
right?
value.
Yeah, exactly. Historically, we rotate whose house it's at.
Yeah.
And then we do like a potluck or something. We all bring something, so it's not, too much stress on one person to like host, and it's normally just chill. We just want to be together. We just like being together.
Yeah.
And we work well together. We help each other. It's really amazing. And we talk about what does it feel like to be a patient. I think I was reading a book and it was talking about the airlines. It might have been Simon Sinek, actually. He was talking about you go and you say, hey, I need to change my flight. And they say, oh, no, sorry, too bad. Your type of ticket doesn't allow for that. Have a nice day.
Right.
Or you go to another place and you say, I'd like to change my flight. And they say, absolutely, let me see what I can do. No, I've not seen. I can't, I'm not, let me call my manager 1 second. I'm so sorry. I did everything I could. I really wanted to get you on that flight to do X, Y, or Z. We couldn't do it. Now you feel like I want to fly with this airline again, even though the outcome was the same. So how can we make our patients feel like they matter, like their experience matters? And from they walk in, what they smell, what they hear, what they see, how they feel. What does it feel like to be a patient? we might not always be able to get the exact time you want, but we're sure going to try. We'll move things around. We'll do whatever we can. Like, every single aspect of their care from the first call to their discharge. What does it feel like to leave?
Yeah.
You get a shirt, you get a picture, we do all these things, and we want to see you again. Come back to see us. We call you again in 3 months. How are you doing?
Yeah.
What does it feel like to be a patient with us? What does it feel like to be an employee? You're going to get a welcome basket from Afton. Typically we try to do like a little welcome gift for them.
Well, you guys brought me a welcome
Right.
gift when
You get your
came in.
gift. Your anniversary is going to be celebrated. We care about you and your life. I have weekly connection meetings. We talk about numbers because that's how they measure how well we're living our values. But ultimately, it's like, what's the affinity we have for each other? Is there connection there? How are you doing? If something's not going well, I don't have to like come down on someone and hold them accountable. It's what's going on and how can I support you?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it comes down to building humans.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes your culture so strong, is that you're committed to the human element of the business. And you're not, I think people really mess this up in healthcare in particular, that by focusing on the human element, they tend to overlook the metrics.
Mm.
No money, no mission, no purpose, no profits.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have both in place. And so you do. You're very big on understanding what profitability looks like. I love how you guys train your people about that. It's just, I think the difference is it's not the primary focus. It's a measurement to the focus, which is building human beings.
Right.
Yeah. And how have you seen that in the company Afton from your perspective? Like, as someone who's an owner, you're really supporting administratively a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know your employees are connecting to the culture? Like, what signs do you see from them that tell you, what, this is working?
Yeah. Just their overall demeanor, I think, how they interact with each other, how they interact with the patients, how they interact with me. I think there's something special about, yes, we are husband and wife, we work together, we're on the same team, but at work, I'm an employee and I'm one of you guys. And that's how I want it to feel and make sure that that's how it feels. So there's a lot of times that I just get to kind of hang out with the employees because I am one. And they go to Jared for boss things. They don't come to me for that. And it's, I think they are very comfortable in that, very comfortable and grateful for the environment, and that translates to their patient care.
That's so cool. I love how you say that too. I think that's a powerful reflection of your brand and your culture, that you as an owner are an employee in that role. If people understood that concept better, they would be a lot less offended at work as owners and leaders. It's like, hey, we're all equals.
Right.
We're all equals. I think in healthcare, the problem is usually they put their employees above them almost because they're so scared of them leaving that they'll like cater to them in a way that's not good for the business. But in your case, there's equality. Mm-hmm. And you sense that, you answer the question powerfully, because it's like, one of the reasons it's great is because you're an employee. You're an experience of the culture, not just a creator of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's two things I look at when I kind of think about measuring this. It's one, how willing they are to do things outside of work.
Okay, so this is how you measure culture.
That's how I like to measure it.
Okay.
Like, I can't really make it, or are they like, no, I'm there. Are they planning it? Are they volunteering to be the host that month?
Yeah.
Are they excited for it? Are they talking about it with patients? That's kind of like one of the signs. The other one that I like too is you're very humorous and use humor a lot with different things. How willing are they to like joke around and just be like themselves? Silly.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Like, Candid Care is one of our values, and being yourself, right? Yours was freedom to be yourself.
Yeah.
Are they just able to provide care in a way that feels like they're able to be themselves and give the value that they want to patients and show up authentically? And if they feel like that, I'm like, okay, Bruce, he's one of our employees, one of our techs. He's really coming out of his shell. He was very quiet at first, and you can just tell, like, now, we're talking smack about pickleball this Saturday.
Well, and he's younger. He's 21.
Yeah.
21. Yeah. And just on a break, I was talking to him about like his dating life, and that was so fun for me.
Yeah.
You know, and we're going back and forth, and we're talking about Riz and all the things, but makes me feel very old. But I love that. I really do love who we work with, and we really have built a family. But
So
it's very fun.
This is so cool. Let me ask you this as kind of a probing question, because I've seen this before where people become so familiar with their team that the culture goes from being family oriented to almost like too casual. Does that make sense? So how do you
Totally.
navigate that relationship of, hey, we are close and you matter to me and the human element, and we're here to get a job and hit our metrics, and you know what I mean, and do correction and training? How do you navigate that?
Well, I think I have time set aside. I have space for each having a success plan. We call them battle plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is where our metrics are at. This is where we're going. And if we're all hitting those and we're all happy, like like I said, they're coming to me to kind of say, this is what didn't go well, and this is what I'm doing to fix it, right?
Yeah.
This is what the plan is for this week. So that is on top of mind, and that's how we measure how well we're living our values. So that's all part of it, and it's not in this or that, it's both, right?
Interesting. So you just make sure that those two things are in check.
Yeah.
Well, and we talk about it constantly. We have pink elephants in our monthly meetings, but if there's things that are maybe off on the floor or things that we want to change in that area, I mean, we talk about them. We are very transparent. We talk about it so we can change it. Maybe if we weren't doing something like as strict as we were, the month before, we talk about it and we have a plan, and it just feels like there's a basis level of respect and professionalism that everyone on the team already comes with. It just feels like you can't, I don't know, you can't teach that. You can, say, okay, here are the expectations and everything, but it's
part of our values is integrity, like
right.
trust to do the right thing. Like the right thing is by following the handbook as it's written, or by, being accountable, and you can count on me. All these things we talk about, that's all part of our values. And so, Conchetta is one of our PTs who's also kind of becoming like our compliance officer.
Yeah.
She's very loves the rules. She's doing our like annual compliance checks right now, and just has taken that on, just because she enjoys it, and it's trying to help free me up a little bit. So like we care about the rules and doing things the right way and doing the right thing.
That's
part
part
of the culture.
So it creates the boundaries for you.
Yes. Well, and that we those things are top of mind when we are building up our team. We ask them questions about their personal life and relationships in the interview, just to kind of see where they're at, not just professionally, but just as a well-rounded human. That is something we're very aware of and in tune. They say, what do they say? They say that 80% of your work life success is from your level of emotional intelligence, and then 20% is based off of your skill set. And you can't teach empathy. You can teach skill. We can get better with that, but you can't teach empathy. And so that's something that we're very aware of when we bring someone into the clinic, and it's a collaborative thing. How did everybody feel? Did they fit in on the floor? Did they, are they a good fit? So
that's cool that you're leveraging your values. The way you answered the question, the way I heard that question of how do you filter between that personal without being casual kind of level, is that it goes back to your values again. So you have it built into your values and you hire to that. So that sets the stage for you. And it's less about like, controlling the environment for them versus hiring the right people to help you build the right environment so that it's both personal and professional. And that's cool. I think for me, as a parent, especially of an adult sons now, I've got 2 sons now and they're grown, is that they're young adults. It's like the idea of for them to work in an environment like that is like the coolest thought, because this generation is under attack in a way that no other generation has. Social media and cell phones have created it so that companies like yours that actually hire and focus on millennials or Gen Zers, or who are they? Are they Gen Zers? I don't know.
Don't ask me.
Like, what am I? I'm a Gen X.
Gen X. Okay.
Or am I a boomer? I don't know. But like that, those two younger generations, they need that connection.
Yeah.
So they're having a culture that helps them come out of their skin, or whatever. What's the phrase? Come out of their
Shell.
Shell. Thank you. When to have a culture that helps them come out of shell, like you were saying with some of your employees, it might be the first time they've ever done it. It might be the first time they've even like seen themselves without a shell.
Yeah.
And so, since I brought up parenting, let's now shift over to the Egan home and the culture that you guys have built at home. So you were saying before we hit record that you guys have developed a family purpose.
Yeah.
So first of all, tell me, why did you do that? And then let's talk about what the purpose is.
Well, at the 3-day MBA that Brian Wright hosted, you spoke there and you talked about culture.
Yes.
And that was all familiar to me and something I care deeply about. But you said the purpose of this is so that you can then replicate it in your own home. And you kind of gave, maybe not directly, but I took it as a challenge to implement that into my own home, right?
Of course you did.
and wanted to come up with our own family, especially since we are a blended family, right? We have
Tell everyone your history, like in terms of your blend.
Yeah, so I have 3 children. She has 1 children. Ranger has spina bifida, special needs. So we've both been previously married, and we have 4 kids in 4 different schools.
And their ages?
7, 9, 10, 12.
Yes.
Yeah, so 4 kids in 4 different schools. It gets
4 different schools. There's other parents involved.
Co-parents and different moms, there's different dynamics and I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well, being a step parent can be difficult. There's things that you don't see on social media or you don't know about, or each dynamic is different. And so having something that unifies you as a family with different values, different, especially when they go to the other house sometimes, right? Or they go to school, they need something that kind of unifies them and lays the framework. So
just like a company, something that would connect people coming from various backgrounds, more various than typical, right? Like they're coming in, because when people we hire, there's different cultures from the homes they come from.
Yeah.
The people might be aligned, but there's other people in their world who aren't going to necessarily be aligned. So you've got that whole dynamic of trying to create a culture so that they feel connected and unified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a sign we have a loft and it's like the kid area. There's a sign that I got when we were very first married, and very intentionally I put it in that area. And it just says, "Come as you are." And that really stuck out to me, and I really wanted it for this concept. I wanted it to really hit home, knowing that these kids are going to different places. They are from different DNA. We don't have any like ours kids. There's nothing to unify us other than we are all in the same space sometimes. And really just being very mindful of they are all so different, and we will not parent them all the same. You can't parent them all the same, but how can we be aligned in all having the same goal? You're all welcome here. You're all different. But we all have the same goal, and that's
what is that
what
goal?
is our job as parents, right, or as leaders, is to make more leaders.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure that they have some sort of system or value base that they can go out and become independent
they're
leaders
set up for
themselves.
success.
Whatever they want to do in their lives, we love them. We're going to support them. Whatever that might look like, that's fine. But like, you're gonna excel and do great and do that thing really well. And so, when we got married, actually, we came up with the slogan, "Decisions determine destiny." Because one swipe, one phone call, one whatever it is, right, can, one job fair meeting you changed my entire destiny, right? And so really can make a massive impact. So we started our little family meeting out with that, of talking about, that was our slogan, and we've talked about that and why that matters, and how we're going to create a family purpose that reflects our values. And so we kind of came up with the values together. And the values, as you know, I like acronyms, is destiny.
Oh, cool.
Right? So discipline, empathy, service, tenacity, integrity, nurture, and yield. And so we talk about, faith and spiritual. It kind of covers everything that we really wanted to instill them with. And they helped us come up with the purpose. which is kind of fun. The purpose is to become limitless, not by chance, but by choice.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah, we love that because there's also, we preach, accountability and choices and all these things because we're a blended family, because there are, it would be very, very easy to limit ourselves or have our children grow up and be like, oh, well, I had a really hard time doing this, so I'm not good at that. I had a really hard time in my childhood, so I'm not good at that. We don't subscribe to that.
Yeah.
So we are, definitely wanted to preach the aspect of, you're in charge of, your decisions, determine your destiny. If you want to be successful, you're going to be successful, but you have to put in the work. You need to do it.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. They're all different ages and, we're all having the same meeting, same conversation, but their little personalities and ages come out in different ways, and they're all internalizing this entire concept differently. But we were talking about, we came up with the Limitless, and then Skylar, our 12-year-old, he's like, Limitless, let's go. And he was really jazzed about it.
It resonated.
Yeah.
It aligned with what all the things that we were talking about and what we were really wanting for them in their life, right? I can't do that. No, I'm having trouble with, right? Yeah. How can we do it? How you're putting a limit on yourself, right? So how do we do that? Well, I could do this, and this, and that's been already this last few weeks. Okay, Joelle, is that how we live our values? Right?
So that's how you're living them at home. I asked you the question at work, but you're using that reference as the frame for coaching your kids,
right.
Which is the ultimate goal as a parent, is to be their coach, right? So you're coaching them through the values. Is that, are we living our values?
Well, and we're all bought into it. We all came up with it collectively, and I think in the workplace that's also something that's been so special and powerful, because we are. Yes, we had a company to start with, but we're also growing a company, and we're bringing people along in that process. And so they're bought into it as well. So like at home with our kids, when they are involved in, okay, what are our values? What are we all, we're all accountable to each other. It's the same thing at work, because they're, on the front lines doing that with us too, since we're a younger clinic and all those things. So there's that natural bought in, buy-in, I guess.
How important was that? You mentioned, Afton, that they were co-creating it with you, and that had something to do with their buy-in. How significant was that, in both at work and at home? How significant was the co-creation phase part of their buy-in?
I think depending on the providers that, are you talking about for work or for at home? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
For just thinking of our specific providers, we asked them point blank when they came in to interview, how did you find us? What are you looking for? Where are they at in their career? What are they needing a change, or are they wanting to just start? And it's definitely curated to, we have different growth models, and they're individual. Okay, what you could go down this path as a partner, you could go down this path, where do you see yourself fitting in? And so we ask those questions and give them a visual in those first initial meetings to go, okay, if you're an era, there's let's see if there's a place for you, and let's go over these things, and we help them visualize that. We help them go,
because it's already built. The culture. See, in that case, I'm sure there was a co-creation process at the beginning, but it was mostly you two, and then they're coming in and you're helping them see what's been built, but how they could build themselves in it.
Right. So they're going through the process that we built. Yeah.
And so with the kids, you actually had them contribute to the creation of the purpose, vision, and values to some degree. I'm sure you guided most of it.
Right.
But do you think that was big for them to buy into your family culture to help create?
Oh, it's been because the first few times we've started to have to correct based off of the values. And so right now it's still kind of new and fresh and fun, but it's esoteric where they don't really understand how their day-to-day actions are really tying to the values. So when I say, okay, Joelle, was that
a value-based, was that aligned with our values?
Yeah. Does it, we have a saying for each of our values. Okay, does that fall under that? Does what you did, no, okay. So what could you have done better, right? Or, Skylar, we talked about taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself, and making sure you are taking care of yourself. That was one of the things. He goes to the gym with me every day at 5 a.m. Yeah. And so part of that is, okay, this is how it ties into the value, or even to how you dress, how you show up for school. Now we're starting to show them how these things really tie in and why they matter, and connecting it to the real world, and how living these values will help them become limitless, not by chance, but by choice. And it's their choice, and they were a part of that. It's their decisions.
Yeah. And I think specifically because we're a blended family, this is like my favorite part of this whole concept. I have a really hard time as a stepmom. It is not at all what I thought it would be. I was already a mom, and in my, rose-colored glasses, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go from 1 kid to 4, and
Right, it's like
I'm
having
gonna,
more kids.
Yeah, I'm going to feel the same way about everyone, and it's going to be fine. That's not how it is. And if someone tells you that, they're lying, or they're lying to themselves. I'm not physically capable of feeling the same way about my stepchildren as I do about my son, and vice versa. They don't have that loyalty and, bond with me. So what's been really, really helpful in our situation with this concept and having them involved in that, it kind of takes the pressure off of me as not as a step parent, and not like, you're not my parent. Okay, well, you're not, it's not that you're not following my rules. We made these rules. Yeah, we made these together.
Rules.
Right. And then it empowers me, because I don't like to be involved in the disciplining. I don't like that at all. And so it's a natural, thing to have, and to be able to say that, to where we can have problem solving and grow and get better. And there's not this building of resentment going gosh, she's so annoying, or I'm like, why won't he listen to me? And it's not personal. It's we built this together, and so it's okay that we don't come from the same people, and it's okay,
Because it's not about this organizational dynamic that is one size fits all. It's about teamwork.
Right.
It's we as a team are all equals. There's obviously authoritative differences in companies or at home. But when we all co-create and agree that this is what we stand for, and this is what's best for the group, then it's less about individual, top-down control or discipline, and more about group accountability.
Right.
Because then you're an equal member of the team, and you're able. It's so funny. All the business books that are out there that talk about businesses using that as a parallel of how when companies get really successful, it's because the group hold each other accountable, and the leaders are the coaches. They're the ones who ultimately make some bigger decisions that impact everyone, but they're going to do it in a way that aligns with what everyone's agreed to for the purpose, vision, and values. So I can really see that being a support for you in a very inspiring way. And isn't it an interesting perspective that a work family is also a blended family?
Yeah.
Right.
At its core. Everyone has a different mom and dad.
Right.
They're all coming in with different expectations, but when they show up to ERA, they can choose family through your values. That's one of your values.
Yep.
And choose to make that a place where they will call it a home. And then they can hold each other accountable as long as there's that culture that's developed. What an interesting thought.
Yeah.
As you guys have done that. And I'm honestly I'm kind of having this stroke right now as I'm thinking about all these things. I can't even think of any other questions for you guys right now. So I'm just sitting in that space of the parallels between the two and how beautiful it is.
Yeah, that's really interesting too, because we talked before about before we were filming about just, you were saying how Jared and I, our life is on paper, it's hard, it's a challenge, but we're built for it.
Yeah.
And so just going back to that thought of, I'm having that realization right now too, oh my gosh, you're right. We blended a family at home first, and that was hard. That was a challenge. It still is, but we're very seasoned in that and well versed. And then we blended a family and started a business, and they're separate but so connected.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember this happened recently even, but I've had employees over the years tell me, well, what matters to me is my family. And so I'm sorry that, this is getting too hard for me because what matters is my family, not work. And there's definite truth to that statement, but what I never appreciated about that was they're choosing to delineate as very different and very unvaluable or valuable. Whereas for me, it's for me at Rise with Jared, I had my my family at home that I turned into a team. And then I had my team at work that I chose to also be a family.
Right.
And so that was always really challenging for me. I think what's cool about what you guys are bringing to the table is that you live the blended you live that blended family life 24/7.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all your family. And so your employees get access to something with leaders that they wouldn't get anywhere else because of the fact that you have such strong standards and values, and that you are experts. You were built for building blended families. And that's the thing I said at the end of selling Rise Rehab for me, was that the best benefit of that experience was that I learned how to take a team at work and turn them into a family so that I could take my family at home and turn them into a team.
Yeah.
And you guys are just bouncing between those dynamics 24/7. So even though there's definitely some complexities, to put that mildly, in the world that you live, what a beautiful thing that it is that you're experts at it, and that no one does it the way that you two do.
Well, we've had to, right? Yeah.
You didn't have to.
Well, for
You didn't
me,
have to.
I don't know. It's
If you had to,
that's what life
if you're
is,
committed to
right?
those values, maybe, but you know what I mean? You had a choice.
we're all blended family, right? Even when two people meet, they're not,
That's true.
right? It's all blended in that way, right? And when you have an outward mindset and you're viewing people as people and how we can get through life as a global team, how do we help people and make an impact and give back and accomplish whatever our purpose is.
Yeah. Are you going to say something else to that? I want to chime in and just say, taking this concept of we're all a blended family is probably one of the most pivotal thoughts that humanity could make. What if we all saw it like that? I think one of the benefits of religion, especially ones that tie to like a paternal and maternal experience, like, that we're all children of God,
Right.
is that makes us all siblings. And then we're all part of the same eternal family, right? And I think that's where religion gets it right really well, is this idea of like we're all related to each other. I think we tend to forget that when it comes to the dynamics of our life, because, and I think this is a common one too. I have friends at my age who have kids getting married. And I love that you said that we're all blended families. Like when you marry someone else, it's a blended family. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a part of a blended family. And so my friends who have kids that are getting married, they're going through the of other parents who are influencing not just the marriage, but the grandkids now. And like, there's all these like dramatic things, but the problem lies in the fact that they see it as separate. And, I have in-laws who in the past at least have felt very separated. Like, this is my family. You guys are my in-laws. But what if we were all one family? That's a choice. Going back to your value of choosing family.
Yeah. It's all a mindset. I think boundaries are so powerful and so crucial. And I think there's a lot of stigma on boundaries being maybe overused or a negative thing. And I think,
Right.
Yeah, and I think that even sometimes I can kind of rest on that. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed by the dynamic, I'm not feeling a connection with our group at home, I can just naturally kind of crawl back into my shell and, put up a boundary, but use that term and go, okay, well, I don't have to do that. It's a boundary. I'm a little triggered. And that's something I think that is important to note that, is yes, we are all, a blended family, and not to rest on those terms, but to push through them and use it to better your situation.
So that over time, the blended just drops off.
Right.
And it just becomes family. And it's not the same dynamic. Maternal, paternal roles exist in every organization. I've had more than one employee that I felt like was a son or daughter, right? In a sense, so to speak. But at the end of the day, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And it's true. When we become grandparents, that shifts as well. And there's just that dynamic. But I've seen, I think we all have examples of people who have, for example, a divorced friend of mine is super like remarried, and his ex-wife is remarried, and they're not best friends. They don't vacation together, but they co-parent like a boss, and there's love. There's like common connection of love. Like they show up at the kid events and they socialize. And how are you? And that's rare. It's very rare.
It is. It is.
But kind of going back to what you guys build at Era and in the Egan home, is that's what you're building though, is this thing called choice. Everyone has to agree to it. So boundaries are important. I think the other thing I want to throw in there is agreements. I feel like in home or at work, having personal boundaries is like my personal limits of the floor of which I won't pass through. Mm-hmm. Like these are things I won't tolerate, or I need space. Agreements are what you guys built with your culture. We agree that these values matter. We agree that we can hold each other accountable. So it's not just mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad. It's brother, sister, step sibling. They can all hold each other accountable. Right. And I think that creates the binds that last, right? Can we talk about vision? Like, I know what your vision is at Era. You mentioned beforehand that like, hey, we all have the same goal. What's the Egan goal? What's the vision for the family? It doesn't have to be well-defined. I'm just curious. What do you guys want?
I mean, our purpose is to become limitless. I think that's part of our vision is we foresee these kids not needing us.
Yeah, I think
we want them to be
independent leaders.
Mm-hmm. is kind of the vision, right, and the purpose, right? So, and I don't think we've really fleshed that out and what that looks like or what that feels like, and because it's so independent to them and what they want to do.
Sure.
But I think if we accomplish our purpose and they become limitless, in their own ways, I think that's, powerful.
Well, yeah, and I think it's for us. We haven't pounded out like the details of it, but it's more so just understanding that we're a blended family, understanding where each individual child and adult has come from with seeing different walks of life and what are possible limitations or issues that could come up, and kind of just attacking those like preemptively and going, okay, we can see that there's a tendency to maybe be a little dishonest in this area.
Sure.
How can we attack that right now so that doesn't bleed into in 10 years in their relationship, or they maybe don't listen to, there's a hard time with respect with the boss employee dynamic. I'm very mindful of building little adults that are happy and successful in life. Like, when they leave the nest, have we done everything that we could? Are they perfect? No. Are they going to do things perfectly? No. But have we taught them? Do they have the lessons and all the tools in their tool belt to go out and cope with life and to still grow and be successful and not have major setbacks? So I think that's
so that no matter what comes their way,
no matter what,
Yeah, and it's again, as you guys talk, I just see that beautiful balance between the home and work, where when we're invested in people and their long-term success, we want them to be happy. It's like no matter what the vision is articulated to be, we want our people to be happy, and that's what I heard you guys say. You want them to be independent, which I think is a key factor in that phrase. Independently happy, like they aren't codependent. They're not needing something or someone. They are enough. They know they're enough internally. And they're growing and developing imperfectly, because that's all of us. And so at work, you do that with your employees. You're at home. Where do I apply to become an employee of Era?
You're hired.
Am I hired?
Your family, yeah. You're already part of it.
You're a family to me as well. and like I'm getting emotional. Sorry, stepping on. I just am so inspired. I'm just so inspired by the life that you choose to live every day. I think as one equal to another, one parent to another parent, one leader to another leader, this work that we do is so challenging. Sometimes it brings us to our knees, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I have been brought to my knees equally at work and at home. I think that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. It just brings you to your knees. But when you can make those connections and you can make it with people, it becomes so worth it. Yeah. It's never easy, but boy, can it be worth it, Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for being on the show. I think this has been a beautiful review of your company. How do the people get a hold of you if they want to come, if they're going to be one of the lucky ones and they think they might apply to this, they might qualify for this wonderful company? What do they need to do?
Well, I mean, obviously we're on Instagram, you know, our website,
They can DM you or
areaphysicaltherapy.com,
whatever.
message
Yeah,
us.
and you can get a really good idea of how we are from our social media.
Yeah.
It's quite fun.
Yeah.
So
Or just admin@physicaltherapy.com.
Yeah.
Email that too. Yeah.
yeah.
And I just want to do a shout out to your kids who are going to listen to this years later. They're going to be teenagers pulling up this file. I want you to know, while whatever experience you've had of your mom and dad, their core, they are two of the most amazing human beings I've ever known. So please know that you were blessed to have Afton and Jared be the leaders that you got to model behind. And yeah, guys, thanks for being on the show. I sure appreciate you guys.
much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Will.
Thank you.